Welcome to Travsessed Tuesdays. It is Tuesday on the Travsessed podcast, so you know what that means. It is the Traveler Quickfire question, and we are your hosts, Kim and Aaron. We are healthcare travelers and the creators of Travsessed. Travsessed is a company that provides on-the-clock, off-the-clock resources for travelers. The on-the-clock is through our course Traveler School, our podcast and Facebook group, and off-the-clock is Travsessed Adventures, which we are currently in Peru, waiting to start another amazing adventure trip. And so with that, here we go.
Flight crew, please prepare for departure.
Okay, so we're starting this show and Kim's coked out. So just so you know.
Listen, I've been having a little...
There's something else going on.
I've had a little coca tea, which you need in the altitude here in Cusco. And I'm feeling a little bit skied up. And I like it.
Okay.
Listen, it's legal here, and it really helps with the altitude.
And it's not full on cocaine.
No, it's leaves. It's leaves, people. Calm down. It's tea. We're drinking tea. It's not like we're doing lines off, you know.
Off what?
Your bubbies.
Okay.
Okay, so... we wanted to do the answer the quick fire question of the week.
Nice. What is that?
Okay, so I've been seeing this pop up a lot in the Facebook group. And again, we wanted to use these quick fires as a way to address questions that we're seeing pop up in our group that we can answer directly and give some real insight and... What?
Nothing, go.
Oh, you were looking all crazy.
I was looking at the computer. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. Give some insight and kind of our take on it. We have 10 years of travel experience. We consider ourselves experts in this industry, and so we want to give you the best possible information that we can.
Not just because we have 10 years of experience.
Well, we're experts because we've dedicated our time to learn about
Thank
the industry and research and speak to experts. I mean, we've spoken at SIA and TravCon, and so we know the ins and outs of this industry really, really well.
Agreed.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so the question is, for people who aren't, they know they want to travel, but it's not like they have a start date. They know they want to start traveling next month. They're interested in traveling, but they're not exactly sure when they are going to be able to take the plunge. Or I don't want to say plunge, the leap. Plunge sounds wow.
Take the leap. But I mean, I would even say it's not 1 month. Right? Like, no, it's like people that have literally been on the fence and they're like ready to start this process. They have realized through whatever realizations they've had that, you know what, there's no other choice in life but to start traveling as a healthcare traveler.
Yeah.
That's who we're talking about.
Right, but they don't know when they're going to start.
Correct.
So it might be the end of summer or the end of the year.
Or next year.
So, right. So they know they want to travel. They're not sure when. And so the question is, well, when do you actually start the process of onboarding, of finding recruiters, of getting your stuff set up so that when the time does come, you're ready to go?
Correct.
Okay. The answer is, Bobby?
Go ahead, buddy.
Okay. So my take on this is, if we're not talking about a year out, so say we're talking about a few months, okay, I would say start the process now. And so you want to take this time, even though you don't know exactly when you're going to start, using this time to start finding the companies that you want to work with, the recruiters, start talking to people. And then once you find those recruiters and companies you want to work with, start the onboarding process, which is making sure your resume is up to date and sending over the paperwork that's needed and getting everything ready to go, because the process of onboarding with different companies takes a while. There's lots of different steps. It's kind of a pain in the ass. So you want to get everything ready to go so that when the time comes, they have everything they need and you can just like take off and get your contract.
So Kim said that the onboarding process does take a while. And I think, you know, for me, for instance, our personal story, Kim and I realized that we wanted to travel. Our first thought, we called a company. Now, circa what we know now, we would have learned the industry a little bit more, but there was nobody doing these type of teachings when we wanted to start traveling. So we just called a company and we started talking to a recruiter from somebody who, when Kim learned that she wanted to go travel, was from another sonographer that she worked with. So we just called her recruiter and basically started talking. I think that that was actually super beneficial because what it did is allowed us to develop a strong relationship with that recruiter and also really kind of like see the industry and see what contracts were popping up, even though we were not going to take those contracts because we weren't ready. I was able to see that like there was one in Anaheim. I'll never forget that. That's the first one she said is like there's a job in Anaheim for ultrasound and IR and they only work with travelers. And I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. And then the next week it was like Hopkins needed an IR tech and a sonographer. And then, Emory, and then all these different places started popping up. So I started to see the amount of jobs that were out there and kind of started to understand that things pop up quick and then they go and then a new contract pops up. And so I really got to build that relationship until the time we were ready to go.
And you're also building the relationship with your recruiter, right? Of understanding what your skills are, what jobs are going to be good for you, right? If you're an OB sonographer, you don't want your recruiter wasting time sending you vascular jobs, right? Like, so you're building this relationship and really getting to know each other so that when the time comes, you are ready to go and everyone's on the same page. So I would find your 2 to 3 recruiters right now. If you want some recommendations, feel free to reach out to us. You can DM us at Kim and Aaron G on Instagram. I would find the ones like you really feel good about, you feel like you have a good connection with, and then start the process right now. And then that way everything is ready to go and
go ahead.
So that when you do finally set that start date, you can start actually, like when you're ready to go, you can call up your, first recruiter of choice or even reach out to all 2 or 3 of them and say, okay, my start date now, I know I'm going to start October 20th. So 4 to 6 weeks out, you can start looking for that contract that will be coming in that you can just jump on it because they already have everything they need to get you the job.
Yeah, totally. And I will say too, if you are out there and you're listening to this and you're concerned that, what about my references? I don't want my job to know this far out that I'm actually even looking into traveling. And that is, you're not the only one to do that. So just, telling your recruiters to put that on hold until, that you've really made the decision and everything is lined up and that you have all your information in and you've kind of, learned a few things about the industry that now you're kind of building that relationship with those recruiters. You're seeing if these recruiters are going to be the ones that are going to pay you fairly, that you're going to have a great relationship with. You guys communicate on the same level, all of those things, because as long as you haven't taken that contract, it is a lot easier to kind of get out of that relationship and or find better recruiters for you, knowing that not all recruiters are created equal, unfortunately. And so that's why we said if you were interested in our recruiters, these are really vetted recruiters that we've worked with that do the right things that are amazing, and we would be happy to pass those on to you. But, getting that started and just saying, hey, can you hold off on my references until I'm ready to go because I don't want my job to know? And that's perfectly possible.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say too is using this time in between to really learn about the industry. There's so much to learn, as you guys know, if you listen to this podcast or in our Facebook group, our trainings, like there's a lot to learn about the industry. It's so different than working full time. And so learning how pay works, learning, how taking time off works, learning how insurance works, learning all that stuff, really utilizing this time now that you're not traveling to learn all the things so that when the time comes, you feel confident, you feel prepared, you feel excited, you're ready to go. You've done the work ahead of time, you've pre-gamed, and now you're ready to jump full on in and go have the most incredible adventure. So I would continue listening to this podcast, watching our trainings. We have an online course, Traveler School, that walks you through everything you need to know step by step. I will say we are completely redoing Traveler School, so stay tuned for that if it's something you've kind of been on the fence with. When we get home from this trip, we're rebooting it and going to be doing it in a completely different way, which is going to be so incredible for new travelers. So stay tuned for that.
I'm so excited for that.
Me too.
Well, and I will say too, because we never really say this, but obviously there are hundreds of thousands of travelers that go out there all the time and they don't learn all the things and they travel. But what we're seeing is the people that actually take the time to really learn this stuff set out on a faster pace to really enjoy the lifestyle and set their lives up in a better way, that traveling allows them to live the life that they want to live. And so when you learn all of these things of maximizing your pay, which then when you maximize your pay, you're actually, be able to pay off debt or save more money or take more time off. But you got to know how to do that in order to start living the life you want to live as a traveler right away. And that is the big difference in the people that learn all the things and don't.
100%. It shortens your learning curve and allows you to reach your goals faster. Period. End of story. Which is what we love to teach about.
That's my ultimate reason for teaching traveler school.
100%.
Is if I can bring you out the gate like a freaking racehorse and you start off in the lead and you're looking and you're like, dude, this life is so freaking amazing because I understand all of this and I'm not feeling like I'm getting taken advantage of and I'm not chasing contracts and I'm not I'm able to maximize my pay and pay off my debt and live the life I want. That is the reason we teach what we teach.
100%. 100%. And setting goals and being super clear of what you want to get out of this experience and then setting up a plan to go out and execute on them.
Totally.
Huge. So important. So anyways, hopefully this was helpful. We're here if you guys have any questions. Don't hesitate to reach out and DM us at Kim and Aaron G. And we will see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Toodaloo.
Wow. Toodaloo from Peru.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. That's how you should have ended it.
Toodaloo from Peru. Yeah, that was way better.